Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's ceremony honoring Colonel Jarrod Gillam on the occasion of his frocking to the rank of Brigadier General. At this time, will you please rise for the playing of the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation by Mr. Richard Schooneman.
Please join me. Almighty and eternal God, we pause today to acknowledge you as the source of authority, wisdom, and strength. We gather here with deep gratitude to celebrate this milestone as Jarrod is frocked to the rank of Brigadier General in the United States Army. We thank you for this warrior's distinguished career of selfless service and for the vision, integrity, and dedication that has brought him to this hour. Please bless the soldiers, mentors, and colleagues who have stood by him. And above all, bless his wife and family for their patience, resilience, and quiet sacrifice that are the foundation of his leadership. Lord Heavenly Father, lead Jarrod by faith and not by sight as he assumes these heavy responsibilities. Please help him take refuge in your strength. Grant him a discerning mind, steady courage, and a steadfast commitment to the men and women entrusted to his command. May he always lead with honor, vision, and a dedication to lasting peace. Finally, please bless everyone attending this ceremony. Bless the men and women who have volunteered to defend this country. And God, please bless the United States of America. We offer this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Schooneman. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to recognize our distinguished visitors who joined us today. The Honorable Deborah G. Rosenblum, Mr. Andrew Walter, Brigadier General Joseph Becker, and Mr. Tom Cook. The backbone for many of us is a supportive family. They make it possible to reach milestones such as this. Please join me in recognizing Colonel Gillam's wife, Laura, along with his children, Madison and Hunter. We would like to recognize additional members of Colonel Gillam's family joining us today. His mother, Francine Gillam, and Robert Oldham, her husband, his father, Jeremy Gillam, and his wife, Dr. Virginia Gillam, and his sister, Diana Gillam. We would also like to recognize Laura's parents, Bill and Faye Haynes, who couldn't be here today, as well as other members of Colonel Gillam's family and friends who are joining us remotely through our event live stream event. I would now like to recognize our presiding official, the Honorable Deborah Rosenblum. Ms. Rosenblum was recently the Acting Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment. She also served as the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear, Chemical, and Biological Programs, while simultaneously holding the role of Acting Assistant Secretary of Defense for Industrial Base Policy. Ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome Ms. Rosenblum to provide comments on Colonel Gillam's frocking to Brigadier General.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. Welcome, and thank you all for joining us today to honor Colonel Jarrod Gillam, soon to be Brigadier General Gillam. It's no surprise to me that so many of Jarrod's family members, dear friends, and wonderful colleagues are here. I've always admired Jarrod's unique ability to make everyone in his orbit feel as though they are the center of his world and part of his family. As I'm sure you were expecting, the theme of today's ceremony is family. I have a vivid memory of when I learned early on while working with Jarrod how important family and friends are to him. I was initially baffled by the number of people who were always congregating in our office suites in the Pentagon. As a relatively newly minted political appointee with a healthy ego, I of course assumed that they were there to see me, or at least to be seen by me. But no, Jarrod clarified one day when I asked him if our team had enough work to do and shouldn't they be back in their offices doing it. And but he shared with me that everyone was indeed working, but with him. In classic Jarrod fashion, with a sheepish grin, he informed me that they were seeking his advice and counsel and companionship. Yeah, okay, was all I said as I walked away, shaking my head. It is also not a surprise to me that Jarrod is being promoted on his first look, and that he is the first in his War College class to be having this honor. He is truly an amazing, talented, and selfless officer. I was very blessed to have learned from him more about true compassionate leadership and steadiness than I will ever be able to truly convey. Many traits and characteristics that others treat as adages or coined phrases, Jarrod embodies every day, even on days when all of us have had these kind of days, when all you want to do is go back to bed, pull the covers over your head as a very mature way of making a challenge go away. But no, Jarrod always finds a way to persevere, to turn insurmountable tasks into teamwork that's actually fun, to find the humor in the mundane, and to find the life lessons in the Alice in Wonderland set of circumstances that we often found ourselves in while battling for Ukraine's survival, the modernization of the NATO alliance, and the protection of U.S. warfighters from biological threats and dangers. So now that I've given Jarrod a puffy head on his special day, I know that each of you will agree with me when I say that Jarrod is not always awe-inspiring. He decidedly has his moments. Like when his unshakable calm is infuriating, or when his idea of fun, or maybe even a joke that he knows he's going to get away with, is having me climb to the top of Koko Crater in Hawaii at 4 a.m., shortly after he joined my office as my military assistant. And for those of you who may not have had this death-defying experience yet, Koko Crater is 1,200 feet straight up. It's an abandoned World War II railroad track that acts as a steep, and I mean really steep, staircase that the guidebooks say is a 990-foot vertical drop. I, of course, knew none of this when I naively thought, after Jarrod proposed the idea, what a thoughtful way to get sightseeing in before our workday with Pacific Command. Or when he insists on Hajjs throughout London as the best way to get over jet lag, rather than the normal approach of just taking a nap. I quickly learned that nothing we would encounter working together in the bureaucracy of the Pentagon would compare with the challenges regularly confronted in the life of a special operations officer or an FA-52 officer who has to worry about black swan events involving nuclear, chemical, or biological warfare. No matter what challenges we faced or the work to be done, his true guiding star is his family and closest friends. He believes with all his being that he would not be here today on this stage about to be frocked, nor have accomplished all that he has without the love and support of his family and friends. While traveling long hours and journeying throughout the world together, I heard about the unqualified support he received from his mother, Francine, and his father, Jeremy, growing up, both in different ways, but equally impactful. Those bonds continue today. Francine and Jeremy, you must be very, very proud of Jarrod. He also cherishes his siblings, who I'm sure were trying to keep him on the straight and narrow and keep him honest growing up. One of his sisters, Diana Gillam, is with us today. Thank you for being here. I came to admire his wonderful wife, Laura, who I've never really had the occasion to meet, but might as well have, given Jarrod's frequent, proud stories of all of her professional accomplishments and leadership in the fields of climate and energy. Laura has always given Jarrod the space and the time to shine and to demonstrate his talents, no matter what was going on in her esteemed career. Laura, Jarrod has a lifetime of love and gratitude for you, his soulmate. And of course, all of the joys and often hilarious anecdotes of his two special children, Madison and Hunter. Hey guys, your mom and dad are really cool, no matter how annoying they may get. And Morgan, Jarrod's closest friend, you are a rock star when it comes to friendship. It is very obvious to me, and I hope to all of you, that Jarrod's family and closest friends keep him grounded and are the source of his superpowers. We rightly could spend all afternoon talking about Jarrod's career accomplishments. But Madison and Hunter, don't you think we should get on with the really fun part of frocking your dad? Your dad, just for one more second, Colonel Gillam.
Thank you, Ms. Rosenblum. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the reading of the frocking order.
Publish the orders.
Attention to orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the valor, fidelity, and abilities of Jarrod J.H. Gillam. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is therefore authorized and directed to wear the uniform and one-star insignia of a Brigadier General by authority of the Secretary of War. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now have the pinning of the Brigadier General rank by his family and friends. If you would like to take pictures from your seats, this is a great opportunity. Can Madison and Hunter please come on stage? Okay. Madison and Hunter will remove the Special Forces crossed arrows insignia from Brigadier General Gillam's uniform. While General Gillam remains a Green Beret, general officers, true to their name, are no longer affiliated with a specific branch. Can Morgan Hassler and Officer Donnie Marasco from the Baltimore County Police Department please come up on stage? They will remove the distinctive unit insignia and replace the rank on General Gillam's AGSU jacket. Can Laura Gillam please come up on stage? Miss Gillam will replace the rank on General Gillam's Green Beret. Can General Gillam's parents, Jeremy and Francine, please come on stage? Jeremy and Francine Gillam will replace the epaulets on General Gillam's shirt. All right. We're good. Thank you, family and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as Ms. Rosenblum administers the oath of office to Brigadier General Gillam.
I state your full name.
I, Jarrod J.H,
Having been appointed a Brigadier General
having been appointed a Brigadier General
in the United States Army,
in the United States Army,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter,
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
At this time, will Major Nick Kalengi and First Sergeant Retired William Height join Brigadier General Gillam on stage. On November 23, 1887, by authority of the Secretary of War, officers of the Corps of Engineers were authorized to carry on boats a square scarlet flag with a castle in the center. These flags corresponded to those battalions of the engineers. The original flags authorized for general officers were boat flags, scarlet in color. They were first authorized by the War Department on August 22, 1903, for use of officers of the Army when making official visits to Navy vessels. The same provisions for boat flags were officially proclaimed for the Army of the United States in 1904, with amendment dated December 31, 1905. The authorization of flags was further expanded to include automobile flags and field and office flags in 1923. In 1947, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel authorized all general officer flags, except Medical Corps and chaplain flags, to be scarlet with white stars and gold fringe. At this time, will Brigadier General Gillam's sister, Diana Gillam, join him on stage.
Come on, buddy. Belt. It's getting weird, but it's okay. It's going to be weird.
Up through World War I, all officers wore a brown belt with an interlocking eagle plate in garrison. After the war, the belt was not worn. In July of 1943, the Army Chief of Staff expressed a desire, as the original memorandum states, for a belt to be worn by all general officers when carrying sidearms, except when actually going into combat. Today, wearing of the belt is at the discretion of each general officer. It is worn with the Army combat uniform, primarily for ceremonial purposes. At this time, will Brigadier General Gillam's friend, Commander Retired John Oman, join him on stage.
You're welcome. Where's the box?
Since 1944, the manufacturer of the Army's standard service pistol has produced a special issue for general officers. Under the provisions of Title 10, U.S. Code Section 2574, active duty general officers are issued a Model M18 9mm pistol on a loan basis. The pistols are produced exclusively for general officers. The serial numbers are prefixed with GO and are unique to each general officer. The loan of the pistol is valid until retirement from active duty at which time the general officer can purchase this weapon or return it. If returned, the pistol is destroyed. Due to security regulations in the Pentagon, John will present a token replica to Brigadier General Gillam.
Certainly wasn't loaded. Nice. I think this is really for Hunter.
Brigadier General Gillam would like to send a special thank you to Hunter for lending him the replica for the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you Brigadier General Jarrod J.H. Gillam. Before his remarks, Brigadier General Gillam would like to thank his family for the love and support they continue to give him. General Gillam will give flowers to the female members of his family. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Gillam.
Thank you all very much. Please take your seats. What a tremendous opportunity, and what a fantastic crowd. Thank you guys so very much for coming out today. It's more of an honor to see everybody out here in front of me today, and look at the various timelines and time frames of my life kind of just in one room, all the way back to my times in college at Western Maryland College. I have DJ Cobb back there, who was a 98 grad of Western Maryland College and a good friend of mine in ROTC when I first came on board, all the way through my career now to modern day, and my future deputy director. For temporary, I understand you're not going to be my deputy forever, but at least for the next few weeks as I on board over at DTRA. All right, proper remarks. Good afternoon. I would like to thank you very much, Ms. Rosenblum, for being here today. Mr. Cook, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Walter, good to see you. All my friends from my time here at the Pentagon as well. General Becker, good to see you as well. And NWC folks, I see you scattered around. Go Warriors, class 22. I'd like to thank you all taking time out of your schedules today. But before I go too far into my remarks, I really wanted to recognize a couple of folks who really brought this day together and really made it what it is and what a special event it is. First off, I would like to thank James Bowen, who had the unfortunate pleasure of being my XO, executive officer, for the past 6 months. And he thought he was done with me when I gave up USANCA a few weeks ago, but somehow got additional duty to help with the orchestration of today's event. And without his leadership, this event wouldn't be as successful as it is today. So James, thank you so very much. But also with James, we also have an amazing set of teammates here who have helped pull this together. I can recognize from Damo SS, we have Steph and Brian and Scott, who have all worked here in the building in the background. From USANCA, we have Nick and Paul, KP, Kelvin, Jeff, Myth, Corey, and Tom. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, not just for the last year at USANCA as a director, but also now that you got rid of me, you're still helping me. So I greatly appreciate that. And also from DTRA, Brian, thank you so much. Those that haven't met Brian Howell yet, he has the next unfortunate duty as to be my military assistant once I get to DTRA starting tomorrow. But thank you guys for taking your time and supporting me here today. You have all pitched in to bring us together, but honestly, I think you guys were mostly doing this to get me out of USANCA headquarters. You were tired of me just kind of sitting around. But also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Washington headquarters service team as well, for providing the video and photography on such short notice. You guys are absolute professionals, and I really greatly appreciate you being here today, and thank you so very much for the services you're providing. That is what you're doing for me, is allowing my family and friends who can't be here with us today be able to participate. And, I want to be able to say thank you to all of my family and friends who are watching, and say thank you for your support, not just today, but throughout the years as well. So they say that as you go up in rank, the expectation for your speeches are supposed to go up too. They expect profound wisdom, deep strategic insight, and maybe a quote from Sun Tzu or Patton. I'm not always sure Patton's quotes are appropriate for these kinds of events. But knowing I had the opportunity to speak for a few minutes today, I spent some time trying to come up with this, and everybody that knows me knows that that's not typically my strong suit. So I went to some of the smartest people I knew, and I asked my 10-year-old daughter, Madison, for some advice on, what a general should say at these types of events. And, she thought about it, and she looked at me and was like, just tell them you'll try not to mess up. So I think that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm just going to try to not mess up. So with that profound wisdom anchoring us, I will try just that. So I just kind of wanted to go back a bit. 33 years. 33 years since I first put on this uniform and began building my extended family. And 26 since I commissioned as an officer. If you had told that young enlisted version of me 3 decades ago that I would be standing in the Pentagon and getting a star pinned on my shoulders, I probably would have asked you to share what it is you were drinking at the time, because I would have wanted that as well. This is my 7th promotion as an officer, and you would think by now that either the novelty would have worn off or I would have figured out the paperwork required for these things. But yeah, the truth is, with each new rank, the uniform just feels a little heavier. The reality of the responsibility sinks in a little deeper, and my gratitude for the people who helped me get here grows exponentially. That gratitude starts today with the Honorable Rosenblum. Ma'am, thank you for officiating today's ceremony. Serving as your senior military assistant for 3 years was one of the most rewarding and defining periods of my senior officer career. Working in your office was not just a job, it was an education. I got to spend that time, the fly on the wall. I got to listen, I got to hear how our senior leaders speak, how they make decisions, how they work through problem sets, and how to work and navigate through this complex building and the bureaucracy that we have here. You showed me what it means to lead with clarity, to make tough decisions, how to arrange my speech notes on the podium without losing sight of the people your decisions affect, and to maintain a sense of humor when the days got incredibly long. Yeah, I'm always reminded of your outlook. When we work hard. The things we work on are dangerous, and the decisions we make have serious ramifications for everybody in the joint force. So we have to take a step back, remind ourselves not to take ourselves too seriously, and enjoy those moments where we have the chance to. So thank you. You helped shape my drive to take this to the next level of leadership, and to have you here today officiating this milestone means more than I can properly express. Thank you for your mentorship, your trust, and for all the hikes we took around various cities that we traveled to for work as we discussed the next steps in my career, even in the pouring rain, which, Simone, you still have that picture, I believe, right? But when I delved into the theme of my remarks, as Ms. Rosenblum alluded before, the concept came to mind, the only word that makes sense of the last 33 years, and that's a family. But family is a complex word in our line of work. It starts, of course, with the people who have known you since the beginning. To my parents, Mom and Dad, you were there 33 years ago, when the 17-year-old high school kid needed his enlistment paperwork signed off on by his parents because I was too young to sign myself over to the Army. My mother was a bit taken back by that when she got a call from a recruiter and I hadn't prepped her ahead of time. Then again, 26 years ago, when I first commissioned, you were there. I suspected back then you were just really happy I had a full-time job and, somebody was going to pay me for a little bit and pay for the student loans I had taken out. And you were hopeful that this whole Army phase would stick. You instilled in me values of hard work, accountability, and looking out for the person next to you. You never pushed me into this life, but once I chose it, you supported me unconditionally. Thank you for always being my foundation. To my sister Diana, yeah, you know what you did. You pushed me in the right direction. You kept me squared away. You kept me from going down a bad path that could have easily have taken that wrong turn. It is because of you I was able to get out of a bad place and move into a right direction. Thank you. To my lifelong friends who traveled here today, Morgan, Billy, Donnie, you'll always be my lifelong friend, buddy. Just to name a few. Some of you knew me before I knew how to properly iron a shirt, or back when we had to polish a boot. You have kept me grounded. In a profession that relies heavily on rank and titles, you have always been the people to remind me of who I am. Underneath this uniform, thank you for the reality checks, the laughs, and for showing up today like you've shown up for decades. To my wife, Laura, you are the absolute core of our family. The military recruited me, but they retained us. For every operational tour, TDY, every late night phone call with you and the kids, and every missed holiday, you have been the steady force keeping our lives together. You have managed to prioritize both family and career. You've been a single mom when the mission pulls me away, and you have done it all with a resilience that I am in awe of. I wear the rank, but you have the carried weight of this career. None of this, absolutely none of this, happens without you. Thank you. To Maddie and Hunter, yeah. You two are your mothers and my greatest joy. Hunter, you're 6, you're silly, you're an amazing human being, and you're still trying to figure out if Daddy being a general is cool or not. Madison, thank you for being you. I love your independent spirit, your love of life, unicorns, and dragons, and helping to keep me in check. You remind me of what's important in life. I want both of you to know that every time I put this uniform on, I am working to protect the kind of world that I want you two to grow up into. Thank you both for your grace, even if you don't quite know what that means yet. I continue to leave in the morning before you wake up and try to get home before bedtime. The greatest gift is that when I take my uniform off, I still get to be your dad, which is one of the most important missions that I have. But as I mentioned earlier, the definition of family is not for a soldier. Definition of family for a soldier is not unique. It stretches beyond biology. It extends to the men and women in and out of uniform, standing in formation, sitting in the talk downrange, and walking the rings of this building. The reality of military service is that I spend more of my waking time and those hours with my colleagues than I do with my wife and children. Over the last 26 years, that time has added up. We shared cramped quarters, bad coffee, too many rippets to count, and impossible deadlines. We shared the exhaustion of our deployments, the sounds and experiences of two-way live fires, and the too few quiet moments of reflection when things got hard. My military family started with the NCOs who taught a young soldier how to survive and thrive. It grew to include the peers I served with as a lieutenant, some of whom are in this room, where we bonded over our mutual lack of sleep and our shared determination to not let our platoons down, or just trying to figure out who had the better MRE to trade with. As the years went on, that family expanded to include the soldiers I had the privilege to command, the staff officers who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make the mission happen, and the civilian professionals who provide the continuity and expertise that keeps this enterprise running. Thank you all. You are the family I was given by this profession. We don't always get to choose who we deploy with or who sits in the cubicle next to us, but the bonds developed by our service are as strong as blood. Looking at you two. We rely on each other for our safety, our sanity, and for our success, and incredible college football conversations. If I have achieved anything of value in my career, it is simply because I was lucky enough to be surrounded by an extraordinary group of human beings like you. You covered my blind spots. You gave me candid feedback when I needed it. You did the heavy lifting. And today I get to stand up here and accept a star that was earned by the collective effort of everyone I've ever served alongside with. As I step into the role of Brigadier General, I am profoundly humbled. I know this is not a reward for past performance. It is an expectation of future responsibility. It is a demand to advocate harder for our soldiers, to think more critically about our missions, and to ensure that the men and women coming up behind us have the leadership they deserve. I promise you today that I will continue to lean on the values that my collective family have taught me. I will try to lead with humility. I will remember that the people are the mission, and as Madison advised, I will try my very best not to mess it up. Thank you all. Thank you all so very much for being here today. Thank you for your support, your friendship, and your service to our nation. God bless.
This actually works out well because I was just about to ask everyone to please stand, so. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the Ballad of the Green Beret, followed by the Army Song. We'll remain quiet and reflective during the Ballad of the Green Berets. Please consider singing along in a rousing manner for the Army Song, which is on the back of your programs.
army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
This concludes today's ceremony. Please join us in congratulating Brigadier General Gillam and his family with the receiving line in the front of the room, followed by refreshments and cake in the adjoining room. Thank you.